Paradise Lost is an epic poem written by John Milton, first published in 1667. Book 10 of Paradise Lost continues the story of Adam and Eve's fall from grace and their expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Here is a full summary of Book 10. Book 10 Summary. Book 10 opens with Satan returning to Eden, determined to exploit the rift he has caused between Adam and Eve. He arrives at the Tree of Life, where he finds the archangel Uriel, who is guarding the entrance to paradise. Satan, in the guise of a fellow angel, engages Uriel in conversation to learn more about Eden's geography and the location of Adam and Eve. Uriel is deceived by Satan's false appearance and reveals the desired information, unaware of Satan's true identity and intentions. Having obtained this knowledge, Satan continues on his mission. Meanwhile, back in Eden, Adam and Eve have reconciled after their earlier argument and are working together in the garden. They discuss their love for each other and their commitment to staying faithful to God's command not to eat from the tree of knowledge. Satan returns to the garden and takes the form of a serpent. He makes his way to Eve, who is alone and vulnerable. The serpent skillfully engages Eve in conversation, flattering her intelligence and encouraging her to eat from the forbidden tree. He suggests that the fruit will give her knowledge and wisdom, making her more like God. Eve is tempted by the serpent's words and is drawn to the tree. She reaches for the fruit, eats it, and then offers it to Adam, who is with her. Adam, out of love for Eve and fearing their separation, also eats the fruit, knowingly defying God's command. As soon as they consume the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve's eyes are opened to their newfound knowledge of good and evil. They become aware of their nakedness and, filled with shame, hurriedly sew fig leaves together to cover themselves. Their act of disobedience is discovered by God, who sends the sun to judge them. The sun pronounces their punishments. The serpent is cursed to crawl on its belly, an enmity will exist between humans and serpents, Eve will experience pain in childbirth, and Adam will toil and labor for sustenance from the earth. They are also informed of their eventual mortality. However, God also provides a glimmer of hope in the form of a promise of redemption through the seed of the woman, who will ultimately crush the serpent's head, suggesting a future salvation for humanity. The book concludes with Adam and Eve being driven out of Eden by the angelic guards with flaming swords, forever separated from the tree of life and forced to face the consequences of their disobedience. Paradise Lost. Book 10 is a pivotal point in the poem, as it depicts the fall of humanity due to the temptation and deception of Satan. It sets the stage for the unfolding of God's plan for redemption in the subsequent books of the epic. Let's delve into further details and analysis of Book 10 of Paradise Lost by John Milton. Satan's deception. In Book 10, Satan continues to display his cunning and deceptive nature. He successfully tricks Uriel, an angel guarding the entrance to paradise, by assuming a false appearance and engaging him in conversation. This deception allows Satan to gather crucial information about the geography of Eden and the location of Adam and Eve. Symbolism of the serpent. Satan's choice to take the form of a serpent to tempt Eve carries significant symbolism. The serpent has biblical associations with cunning and temptation, hearkening back to the story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden from the book of Genesis. By adopting this form, Satan aims to exploit Eve's vulnerability and weaken her resolve. Eve's temptation. Eve's character development is central to this book. She is portrayed as a character susceptible to flattery and manipulation. The serpent's seductive words, coupled with the promise of knowledge and wisdom, entice her to eat the forbidden fruit. Her decision to do so marks a turning point in the poem and sets in motion humanity's fall from grace. Adam's fall. Adam's choice to eat the fruit after Eve offers it to him is a poignant moment in the narrative. It highlights his deep love for Eve and his desire not to be separated from her. His willingness to share in her fate illustrates the theme of human solidarity and the idea that Adam and Eve are partners in their disobedience. God's judgment. After Adam and Eve have eaten the fruit, God sends the sun to pronounce judgment on them. Their punishments are outlined, and they are made aware of the consequences of their actions, including the toil and suffering they will experience in the fallen world. However, God's promise of redemption through the seed of the woman hints at the eventual salvation of humanity through Jesus Christ. The loss of paradise. The final scenes of Book 10 depict Adam and Eve being expelled from Eden by the angelic guards with flaming swords. This imagery reinforces their separation from the tree of life, symbolizing the loss of their innocence and access to eternal life. They are cast into a world marked by suffering, mortality, and the consequences of their disobedience. Foreshadowing and redemption. While the fall of humanity is a central theme of this book, there is also a glimmer of hope. God's promise of redemption through the seed of the woman foreshadows the eventual arrival of Jesus Christ, who, in Christian theology, is believed to redeem humanity from sin. This promise underscores the themes of divine justice and mercy that run throughout the epic. In conclusion, Book 10 of Paradise Lost is a pivotal and dramatic installment in Milton's epic poem. It explores themes of temptation, disobedience, and the consequences of sin while also hinting at the possibility of redemption. The book marks a turning point in the narrative, setting the stage for the subsequent books that delve deeper into humanity's fallen condition and the divine plan for salvation. Here are some of the key themes in Book 10 of Paradise Lost, by John Milton, along with examples from the text. Temptation and deception. Example: Satan's deception of Uriel by taking on a false appearance to learn more about Eden and deceive Adam and Eve is a clear illustration of the theme of temptation and deception in this book. This theme culminates in the serpent's successful temptation of Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. Disobedience and sin. Example: Adam and Eve's disobedience to God's explicit command not to eat from the tree of knowledge is the central act of sin in this book. Their actions lead to the fall of humanity and the introduction of sin into the world. Consequences of sin. Example: God's pronouncement of punishments for Adam, Eve, and the serpent serves as a significant example of the consequences of sin. Adam and Eve's punishments include pain, toil, and mortality, which they must endure as a result of their disobedience. Love and sacrifice. Example: Adam's decision to eat the forbidden fruit after Eve demonstrates his deep love for her and his willingness to share in her fate. This act of self-sacrifice illustrates the theme of love and partnership between Adam and Eve. Redemption and hope. Example: God's promise of redemption through the seed of the woman offers hope amid the dire consequences of humanity's fall. This promise foreshadows the eventual arrival of Jesus Christ as the Redeemer of humanity, emphasizing the theme of redemption. Knowledge and wisdom. Example: The serpent tempts Eve with the promise that eating from the tree of knowledge will grant her knowledge and wisdom, as gods. This theme explores the desire for knowledge and the consequences of seeking knowledge outside the bounds set by God. Human vulnerability. Example: Eve's vulnerability to the serpent's temptation highlights the theme of human vulnerability and susceptibility to deceit. This vulnerability is a central element in the story of humanity's fall from grace. Divine justice and mercy. Example: God's judgment on Adam and Eve includes both punishment and a promise of eventual redemption. This theme reflects the balance between divine justice and mercy in the narrative. Loss and expulsion. Example: The final scenes of Book 10 depict Adam and Eve's loss of paradise and their expulsion from Eden. This theme of loss underscores the consequences of their actions and their separation from God's presence. These themes in Book 10 of Paradise Lost contribute to the overall complexity and depth of Milton's epic poem. They explore fundamental aspects of human nature, morality, and the divine, making the narrative rich and thought-provoking. Let's delve deeper into the examination of the themes in Book 10 of Paradise Lost, by John Milton. Temptation and deception. In Book 10, temptation and deception are central themes. Satan's ability to deceive both Uriel and Eve underscores the power of temptation and the vulnerability of individuals to cunning and manipulation. Uriel's deception is an example of how Satan's guile extends beyond Eden, while Eve's temptation and fall reveal the devastating consequences of deception. Disobedience and sin. Disobedience and sin are the primary drivers of the narrative in Book 10. Adam and Eve's act of eating the forbidden fruit is the pivotal moment that introduces sin into the world. Their disobedience to God's command serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of going against divine will. Consequences of sin. This theme is evident through God's pronouncement of punishments for Adam, Eve, and the serpent. Adam and Eve's punishment of pain, toil, and mortality reflects the idea that sin brings suffering and mortality into the world. The serpent's punishment, including crawling on its belly, symbolizes degradation and the loss of its former stature. Love and sacrifice. The theme of love and sacrifice is exemplified in Adam's decision to eat the fruit after Eve does. Adam's willingness to share in Eve's fate out of love for her demonstrates the depth of their partnership and his willingness to make sacrifices for her. Redemption and hope. The promise of redemption through the seed of the woman introduces the theme of hope amid the despair caused by humanity's fall. This theme hints at God's plan for salvation and emphasizes the idea that even in the face of grave consequences, there is hope for humanity's eventual redemption. Knowledge and wisdom. The theme of knowledge and wisdom is explored through the serpent's temptation of Eve. The serpent offers the allure of acquiring knowledge, as gods, but the consequences of seeking knowledge outside the boundaries set by God are dire. This theme raises questions about the nature of knowledge and the consequences of its pursuit. Human vulnerability. Human vulnerability is a pervasive theme in Book 10. Eve's susceptibility to the serpent's deception highlights the frailty of human nature and the ease with which individuals can be led astray. This theme underscores the idea that humans are prone to making mistakes and being influenced by external forces. Divine justice and mercy. The theme of divine justice and mercy is evident in God's response to Adam and Eve's disobedience. God's judgment includes punishment for their sin, but it also includes the promise of eventual redemption. This theme explores the balance between God's justice and His merciful plan for humanity's salvation. Loss and expulsion. The theme of loss and expulsion is encapsulated in Adam and Eve's expulsion from Eden. Their loss of paradise and separation from God's presence symbolize the consequences of their actions and the harsh realities of life outside Eden. This theme highlights the irrevocable nature of their fall. In conclusion, Book 10 of Paradise Lost delves deeply into these interconnected themes, offering a complex exploration of human nature, morality, and the consequences of disobedience. Through the experiences of Adam, Eve, and Satan, Milton engages readers in a profound examination of these themes, making the epic poem a timeless work of literature that continues to provoke thought and discussion. A critical appreciation of Book 10 of Paradise Lost by John Milton involves a thorough analysis of its themes, literary techniques, and its significance in the overall narrative of the epic poem. Here's a critical appreciation of this book. 1. Thematic complexity. Book 10 of Paradise Lost continues to explore and expand upon the complex themes introduced earlier in the poem. These themes include temptation, sin, human vulnerability, divine justice, and the consequences of disobedience. Milton's treatment of these themes is nuanced and thought-provoking, encouraging readers to contemplate profound questions about human nature and morality. 2. Character development. This book marks a critical moment in the character development of Adam and Eve. Their choices and actions in this book have far-reaching consequences, shaping their roles as archetypal figures representing humanity's fall from innocence. Adam's willingness to share in Eve's fate out of love demonstrates his selflessness and the depth of their relationship. 3. The art of deception. Milton's portrayal of Satan as the master of deception is a central element in this book. Satan's ability to deceive both Uriel and Eve illustrates the power of cunning and manipulation. This theme of deception serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of succumbing to falsehoods and misplaced trust. 4. Divine justice and mercy. Book 10 delves into the theme of divine justice and mercy. God's response to Adam and Eve's disobedience is a balance between judgment and mercy. While they face consequences for their actions, there is also the promise of eventual redemption through the seed of the woman. This theme underscores God's role as both a just and merciful deity. 5. Foreshadowing redemption. The promise of redemption through the seed of the woman is a pivotal moment in Book 10. It foreshadows the central Christian theme of redemption through Jesus Christ. Milton skillfully weaves this theological concept into the narrative, offering readers a glimmer of hope amid the despair of humanity's fall. 6. Symbolism and imagery. Milton employs powerful symbolism and vivid imagery throughout the book. The serpent, representing deception and temptation, is a potent symbol. The image of Adam and Eve being expelled from Eden with flaming swords guarding the entrance serves as a stark visual representation of their loss and separation from paradise. 7. Narrative tension. Book 10 introduces significant narrative tension as readers witness the pivotal moment when Adam and Eve succumb to temptation. The tension builds as the consequences of their actions unfold, and they are cast out of Eden. This dramatic sequence serves as a turning point in the narrative, moving the story forward. 8. Philosophical contemplation. Milton's epic poem is not merely a religious narrative but also a philosophical work. In Book 10, readers are invited to contemplate profound philosophical questions about free will, moral responsibility, and the nature of good and evil. These philosophical aspects add depth and intellectual richness to the text. In conclusion, Book 10 of Paradise Lost is a masterful continuation of Milton's epic poem. Its exploration of themes, character development, and its theological and philosophical dimensions make it a significant and intellectually stimulating part of the overall narrative. Milton's ability to engage readers in complex moral and theological debates while weaving a compelling narrative is a testament to his skill as a poet and thinker. Here are some additional comments on Book 10 of Paradise Lost by John Milton. Milton's mastery of language. Milton's command of language and his ability to craft intricate and poetic verses are evident in Book 10. His use of rich imagery, metaphors, and vivid descriptions enhances the reader's engagement with the text and adds depth to the narrative. Human complexity. One of the remarkable aspects of Book 10 is its portrayal of the complexity of human nature. Adam and Eve's actions are not portrayed in a simplistic or one-dimensional manner. Instead, their choices and motivations are explored with nuance, making them relatable and multi-dimensional characters. Universal themes. The themes presented in Book 10 are universal and timeless. The exploration of temptation, disobedience, love, sacrifice, and the human condition resonates with readers across different time periods and cultures, making Paradise Lost enduring in its relevance. Theological depth. Milton's theological insights and his ability to integrate Christian doctrine and thought into the narrative are commendable. The promise of redemption through the seed of the woman introduces a profound theological dimension that adds depth and richness to the poem. Narrative pacing. The pacing of Book 10 is well structured. The narrative tension steadily builds as the events unfold, culminating in Adam and Eve's expulsion from Eden. This pacing keeps the reader engaged and invested in the story's outcome. Moral and ethical dilemmas. Book 10 raises important moral and ethical questions. It prompts readers to consider the consequences of human choices and actions, as well as the complexities of moral decision-making. These ethical dilemmas add intellectual depth to the narrative. Human vulnerability and resilience. The theme of human vulnerability is juxtaposed with human resilience. While Adam and Eve's fall showcases their vulnerability to temptation, their determination to remain together and face the consequences of their actions together illustrates their resilience and commitment to each other. Literary legacy. Milton's Paradise Lost continues to be a seminal work in English literature. Book 10 exemplifies the enduring power of this epic poem to inspire critical analysis, theological debate, and literary appreciation. In summary, Book 10 of Paradise Lost is a masterful continuation of Milton's epic narrative, characterized by its thematic richness, character complexity, theological depth, and enduring literary significance. It invites readers to engage with profound philosophical and moral questions while appreciating the artistry of Milton's poetic craft.